What's going on, Titans Nation? Welcome back into another edition of the Morning Glory Show. Hope you're shit, showered, shaved. I hope you got your mayo in your cup because it's time to tighten up. We got a great show ahead of you. But if you're joining us for the first time, make sure you go over to YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you hop in the chat, drop those questions you have down below so you can join the conversation. But today, I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, as always, B-Will at BWillTFTV and TFTV Sports, and Jonathan Miller at eSports Valley. You can follow me on all socials at Glory Days Sports. How we doing today, boys?
I'm doing great, man. It's getting hot out here in Tennessee, man. I don't know where everybody, all the rest of the viewers at, but it's getting hot and humid here in Tennessee, man.
Brutal. Doing well. Got some off-season topics that I think are going to be fun. Yeah.
We're keeping the content flowing. This is episode 4 in the last week. So even though we're in the dark times, we're still churning out content. And seems like everybody's enjoying it. So we're going to keep it going. We're going to rock this thing. So we're looking forward to training camp coming up here in less than a month. If you didn't check out that Jim White episode from a couple days ago, definitely go check that out. He had some great insight. We're going to dive a little bit more into that later in the show. We're going to talk some Jeffrey Simmons on the Rich Eisen show. We got the Cabo trip with Will Levis and the boys just chilling. Then we'll talk about being the most different Titans team potentially ever. And then we're going to end today's show with a draft, as we always do. We're going best vacation spots, and we're looking forward to that with Jonathan with the 101 here in a little bit. But just hopping into this Rich Eisen show with Jeffrey Simmons, there was a lot of things that stood out to it for me. Of course, we're welcoming pain and nails to the NFL for the first game. And the biggest thing was just the afterthoughts comments. I think we've all thought that as Titans fans, that we're just kind of that lesser market and nobody really cares. And Rich pretty much came out to Jeffrey's face and was like, hey, yeah, we don't give a shit about you guys. It's the Caleb Williams show. What are you guys' just overall thoughts on that?
Man, I'm glad Jeffrey said it with the fingernail thing, because when Rich asked the question, I sort of I damn near yelled at myself. But it's good that he said that in a way that it's going to be funny during the game to see how they respond to each other. It's if you watch the game and you watch Jeff a little bit more than others, you'll see that he's always chirping with other linemen. Refs have to get in between them. Like if we look back to the Baltimore game last year, him and Odell Beckham almost got the fighting. I mean, it's every game with him. He's always getting into somebody, but it works into his favor a lot of times because he just dominates. So you got a guy like that that's talking crap all game, then he's smacking you in the mouth, and then he smacks you in the mouth, gets to the quarterback, and he's talking more crap. I mean, that shit'll get old. But no, I'm excited to see how he'll do against Chicago. How the other guys. We got a couple trash talkers on this team now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Jeff, it was cool to kind of see him get some limelight also, just because he's not a very boisterous guy, but he is a good interview, and he always kind of offers some fun insight. But yeah, it was cool. I mean, Rich Eisen's always kind of been like a Titans truther, I think, since like the 2019 run. So he and a few others in the national media have given us some love. So it's not surprising to see that Jeffrey was on the Rich Eisen show, but it was kind of fun to have a Titan on there. I mean, he's always had like Derrick Henry and stuff, but now that Derrick's gone, it's interesting to see like who are going to be those guys for the team. Like who is it going to be that's kind of stepping out and talking more? And Jeffrey probably feels like it needs to be that guy now, right? Because it's like, leaders need to emerge. And he's been a leader, I would say, since maybe his second or third year. But I think that at this point, it's important to establish who that might be for the team. And as far as like the surprising, national media overlooking the Titans, like it's the same song and dance. Titans are used to that. Titans fans are used to that year in and year out. So not surprised there, but it was cool to kind of see them get a little bit of shine. Talked about Caleb Williams more than I thought they might in terms of that. But there was more to the interview that we didn't get to see in like the clip that was circulating. There was another interesting part where they talked about Derrick Henry in a Ravens uniform. And apparently there was what Big Jeff said was like misconstrued a little bit, where he said a purple tutu, and national media was saying, oh, they're calling Derrick Henry in a Ravens uniform like a tutu, like that you would wear in like a ballet or something. But he was like, no. He was saying that he was purple 2-2, like his numbers, because they called him 2-2. So
They don't know Jeff is a country boy. They don't even understand what he's saying. You know, when anybody from Tennessee or down south gets into national media and in front of a national microphone, they act like they can't understand us. I don't know why.
Mississippi boy.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
Yeah, his accent isn't even that thick either. It's
No.
Yeah,
No.
I don't know. I get the same
I thought
thing.
it was pretty cool that he got his initial offer from Mississippi State as a sophomore without even taking a snap on the field yet, just going from camp. So that just tells you what a freak he was, even before he got to college.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he was a beast, man. Because I want to say he was in the same town or around the same town as AJ Brown.
Because
they did that little cohesion clip of a couple years back where they were in the pool hall shooting. It was a really bad shot, but yeah.
It was pretty cool. But, you know, we got between Art and Key, and Snead is a hell of a trash talker. I mean, this secondary is going to chirp a lot. Art and Key chirps a lot. Jeffrey Simmons chirps a lot. So that defense is going to be, and they're going to take the mold of their coach. I mean, it's the defense, our defense, Denard Wilson is a talker too.
Oh, yeah.
So it'd be really interesting to see what kind of identity this defense builds with that in mind. And that's something that I'm not going to say a good defense needs that, but if you look at the really great defenses of all time, like if you look at, and I'm not saying that we can get there, I'm just saying, you know, identity-wise, you look at LOB, the Legion of Boom in Seattle. You look at that early 2000s Ravens defense. I mean, just all-time defenses, they had some flavor, some personality. They was talking shit the whole time. That's something I think you need as a defense to really get that juice week in, week out, because it's tough in the NFL to stop these guys like Mahomes and, you know, Josh Allen and CJ Stroud. It's hard to stop these guys. You know, you gotta work that in your favor.
Yeah, I think this is going to take over the role of Denard Wilson and co. I mean, he came out with those black Air Force Ones, and that's what this team is going to epitomize out there. I mean, they're coming to hit you. They're going to be aggressive. They got the dogs out there, and I think this goes back to even when they hired Brian Callahan. The first guy he called was Jeffrey Simmons because he's the leader of this football team, and they prefer to be the hunter, not the hunted. That was the whole thing right off the get-go. It's time to hunt together. So I think they're putting that all together. I think the Titans fan base kind of views this as we're moving from this gritty football team to this finesse team under Brian Callahan. And I completely disagree with that. We've got the more technical aspects on offense, but this team is still bringing the grit. They're still bringing that dog out there, especially on defense. I think this is going to get real interesting week one. I mean, Rich Eisen was talking about, he was giving Caleb Williams that Caitlin Clark hump right off the bat. And Jeffrey Simmons, he's going to give him that welcome to the NFL. He's going to give him that welcome to the NFL moment. I think we're going to see it out there.
I'll be honest, I don't ever see the Titans getting too far away from their true identity of just being tough-nosed and gritty. You know what I mean? This team and organization has been built for 20, 25 years. Hell, yeah, 25 years on that identity of being tough and gritty. It's going to be hard to get away from that. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing to have. It's good, but we got to sprinkle in some finesse, and I think that's what Callahan has to do. And he knows he doesn't have to have a wholesale change of the whole organization and all that. He just got to improve it a little bit because the foundation is there. I mean, nobody complained about the foundation that we have. Vrabel set a good foundation. Vrabel came into a good foundation. So, you know, we have that. It's just about elevating a little bit, and it's interesting to see the people who are in the national media, like you said, of, you know, Jeffrey Simmons, Will Levis. I feel like we sort of lacking the third guy there. I don't know who that'll be, but it just can't be those two. You know what I mean? I don't know who's y'all's thoughts on that third guy be. Snead's not that type of guy.
Yeah,
really
I mean,
can be.
There probably won't be much talk. I don't know who will get the shine. I think we'll probably have to get into the season and kind of see who kind of steps up. And Levis even mentioned that, I think, in his most recent press conference, like right at the end of OTAs, where he said, we kind of have to see like who will step up in this new scheme. You know, they're going to have opportunities to get the ball to a lot of guys. We'll see who steps up. Maybe it's Josh Wiley. Maybe it's Calvin Ridley. It could be anybody. But I think for me, the big thing, especially like talking about like defense and just culture in general, we were talking to Jim Wyatt on Tuesday, and Jim basically said, where we asked him, like, what do you think about like how are the vibes in the locker room? And then he kind of like alluded to, you know, it's still kind of the same in the same way that you expect it to be with certain players, but obviously it's far more loose now. And so my thought was, okay, so like all the best parts of what Vrabel kind of instilled is kind of what you're seeing in like guys like Jeffrey Simmons and Harold Landry and some of the guys who are holdovers. You're still going to have that tough, gritty culture in those guys. So to your guys' point, I don't think that it's going to be very different in terms of what the defense is, what's expected of the defense. And so that's the good thing, is that whenever you go from one coach to another, a lot of the times, at least in the following year, you have some of that, not holdover, but some of that build over, some of that overlap of a lot of the culture that previous regime had from guys that were still there. So I'm optimistic. I think I don't know why it just cracks me up every single time I see like a Titans in the bottom 3 or they're picking first overall. And I'm like, our defense got better. How is no one paying attention?
Yeah.
Our defense literally improved, and our defense was not bad last year. So
I feel like with that, they're just banking on Will Levis to be one of the worst quarterbacks in the league.
It's got,
you know what I mean?
That's got to be it.
That's sort of the way I look at it. And as long as if we look at Will Levis as a quarterback and where he'll rank up against quarterbacks in the rest of the league, I think that'll be pretty damn close to where we rank up as a team, rest of the league. Like if he's one of the top 15 quarterbacks next year, I think we'll be right around middle of the pack. So we're gonna go as far as he goes anyway. I mean, we know that.
Yeah, true.
I think we'll be slightly better just because this defense is going to be so fucking good. If he's the 16th best quarterback, I think we could be a top 12 team, somewhere around there. As long as he doesn't do too much and he's the one that's actually costing us the games, I think we'll be fine. If he can be Ryan Tannehill, slightly better than Ryan Tannehill, we'll still be up there in playoff contentions, in my opinion. But going back to the leadership side of things, I think if we're looking for that third guy that's going to step up, I think it's one of these defensive rookies. I think it's T'Vondre Sweat or Cedric Gray. Both are very gifted speakers, and they both bring – Cedric Gray brings that fuck you mentality and that leadership to this team. T'Vondre Sweat is just a very fun guy to be around, and he's a very gifted speaker. I think he's going to bring that camaraderie to the locker room. I mean, I just want to put T'Vondre Sweat and an Arden Key in a room and just listen to what that conversation sounds like, because it's going to be hilarious. I give you that.
Turn the cameras off.
Yeah, turn the cameras off.
I think Big Sweat and Big Jeff are going to be a mouthy duo also.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, this is there's a ton of personality that was added to this team. That's a good point on the rookie side. I think Cedric Gray is probably going to be one of the premier leaders of the defense if he pans out, which I think he will. That's a guy that I've been really high on ever since the start of the draft process, and to have him on the team, especially at a position in need, is a really big deal. And yeah, I agree with you. I think the thing I'm most looking forward to is the Big Sweat, Big Jeff duo and how they work together and how, they can get in dudes' heads. I want to talk about trash talk. I think, T'Vondre Sweat's probably overlooked pretty heavily in that department, because that boy can talk.
You think and this seems a little, for me, I don't know if I don't think this is entirely true, but it's just something I just thought of it seems like this regime is going to be more apt to taking chances on guys that have those personalities compared to years past. You know what I mean? It seems like in years past, we sort of shied away from those guys. It was seen as a negative and sort of a notch against people. But now I think this organization now and the people that are leading it don't look at it as a negative, look at it as something as they can mold into. What do y'all think about that?
Yeah. I definitely agree.
Because you got guys like Sweat, and then you'll have guys. I mean, we brought in Chase Young for a visit. I don't think we would have done that before. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, definitely.
You see what I'm saying?
A Vrabel guy for sure. Yeah.
So I think that could open up things for us talent-wise that we wouldn't necessarily have had the opportunity to get before, just because of not wanting to. I mean, the guys that we did take chances on that had personality issues completely flamed out. Isaiah Wilson, Todd, Kevin Dodd, shit like that. So. Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, I haven't really given that any thought at this point, but yeah, certain players that you wouldn't see in a typical Vrabel regime. And I think it kind of goes back to like the refresh of the team and how different things are looking now, which is a big positive. But yeah, I think at this point, from roster construction to some of the players that they're bringing in, like the analytics driven decision making of the front office has been really refreshing. For it to not be like a Patriot guy. It's like, okay, is this guy gritty? Is he from the Patriots? Check mark. Okay, cool. Is this guy gritty? Is he from the Texans? Check mark. All right, that's 90% of the people we bring in. And to have Chad Brinker, Anthony Robinson, this analytics-driven front office, just literally scouting just pure good talent based off of real football analytics is refreshing. It really, really, truly is. And then, of course, the relationships with the coaches matter a ton too, and that'll form your teams for that reason. We're seeing it with Bill Callahan continuing to sign his guys and adding some crazy depth. Like, we wouldn't have seen this. One thing, what's funny, I just thought of this. It's a little off topic, but it's really funny. It was a question I didn't get a chance to ask Jim Wyatt, but I was so interested in, because he talked about how the offensive line was a position group that he legitimately enjoyed watching through minicamp and OTAs because of Bill Callahan and just the very in-depth drills and all that stuff. And then it made me think, as he was saying it, I thought to myself, what did the drills with like Jason Hoteling and Keith Carter look like? Was it just like, what was it? Because he alluded to it slightly when he was talking about it. He mentioned, he was like, yeah, the guy, they just kind of line up and hit some pads. And he's like, I'll go watch the wide receivers because it's a little bit more fun. That was literally verbatim what he said. And then in my head, I'm thinking that must have been miserable to watch, because a lot of the stuff that we're seeing right now is not just Bill Callahan, but it's like the drills are like the anchor drill where one guy's getting pulled and the other guy's supposed to anchor the entire time and still keep his man in front of him. Stuff like that seems like what you should be teaching O-linemen. And so I just thought that was really funny. I didn't get a chance to ask him to elaborate on it, and he might not have, but it's just like, man, those drills with Jason Hoteling must have been awful. Just miserable.
They were that bad to watch. How bad you think they were to do?
Yeah.
Linemen. You know what I mean? Who the hell would want to come in and get better under a damn guy that just came as a high school coach? You know what I mean?
Justin Hoteling was just doing what Keith Carter was doing before that, which is jack ball. I bet they were playing Sharks and Minnows out there, like a second grade football practice.
The guy came from a high school.
Yeah.
Like,
he's back in high school for sure. But
he's
lucky to
coaching high school.
Yeah. No, I mean,
I remember I found that out. I went on the website and they had it on the website on his resume. And I looked at it. I said, this makes a lot of sense. Because we suck.
Yeah. Well, let's. We got one question we're to hop into before we hop into this Cabo trip, and that's what draft pick, and that's from that dude. He is him. What draft pick signing has surprised you guys so far? Me personally, I'd say Jaquan Jackson. I think he will be big on kick returns. I think just starting it off, I mean, it's got to be J.C. Latham, in my opinion. I mean, his first round pick, but it was a guy that, I mean, Titans fan base and media were super high on the pick once it happened. But that dude has done everything in his power to prove everybody wrong. He's out there working hard. And I mean, Jim Wyatt alluded to it as well. I mean, he's out there an hour early, hour afterwards. He's putting in every ounce of his will and being into being a great pro. And he's going to be out there day one starter. What do you guys think? Anybody just stand out to you?
You go ahead, Jake.
I'll go. Yeah, I mean, other than the obvious, obviously JC has been fantastic, but I think I can agree with that dude. Jaquan Jackson has definitely been the guy who's surprised me the most. And obviously we haven't seen a whole lot yet. We haven't seen live pads. We haven't seen live routes, but what we have seen is some of the stuff that we, just like the shorts and no pads, no helmet. This guy has looked fantastic in and out of his breaks, really crisp, really sharp. I know it's not everything, but seeing some of those like drills from the receivers, when you're watching Julio run routes, when you're watching Calvin Ridley run routes, you're like, my God, this guy is crisp, right? And Jaquan looked fantastic. He didn't I did not see him drop a single ball. And he's climbed the ladder on some throws. He looks like a seasoned vet. So this guy, maybe they got to see some of Jaquan Jackson that the world didn't get to see in his college live games. Maybe there was some private workouts, pro day stuff that he just absolutely shined, because he is pretty impressive. So my stance on him going into this offseason was, it makes sense. You don't have a solidified punt or kick returner right now. That spot is vacant still from the carryover of last season. And now the kick returner, you need two of them with this new rule. Now my stance is, not only do I think he's going to make the roster for the return specialist reason, but I think there's a good chance that he sees like decent reps and a decent amount of targets in his rookie year, because he is very impressive. He passes the eye test in the early stages of the offseason.
I agree with you with Jaquan Jackson. I'm just always going to have an eye out at Miami. You know what I mean? We talked about it before. I can't stop.
What could have been?
What could have been? I'm always, every freaking week, when we have a highlight, damn Jim Brown comes across talking, Boomer Esiason comes across talking, and it's Malik Washington down to 50, 40. I'm going to be so pissed off. I'm telling you. But the back to what we were saying, the person that really surprised me, or that I'm really impressed with, I'd probably say Sadiq Charles, man. One of Callahan's guys. Looks like he's going to be able to carve a role for himself, a starting role possibly, into this offensive line. And that'll be a really, any projections that we had for this offensive line, if Sadiq Charles gets a starting role, that's going to knock everybody down one. So, you talk about good for depth. I'm excited to see how well he does in preseason and, in training camp as well, once we get going and we get some pads on and see how he does. When that's, we can talk about the linemen all we want, but it really don't mean shit until we put them pads on here in a couple weeks. And then once we get into it with other teams as well. So Sadiq Charles has been the guy for me. I can't wait to see how he does on that right-hand side.
No,
he'll be big for us if he gets a starting role there.
I think he will. I think mini camp and OTAs, that didn't play into his strength. Once we put the pads on, I think that's when he's going to start running away with this right guard job. I think it's his to lose, and I think it's only going to get improved and better once we put the pads on. But we'll go ahead and Stoney Keeley in the comments. You guys aren't in Cabo this week. I'm flying Spirit Airlines, and I've been delayed a week so far. So we'll see how it goes. But that's the plan as of now. But we're going to talk this Cabo trip. So Will Levis flew out the boys down there. They said they're going to do their little treat. And we got 11 personnel out there. We got Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, Chigakonkwo, Josh Wiley, and Tajay Spears out there. You'd like to maybe see Tyler Boyd, Burks, Pollard out there. But do you guys have any hot takes or anything on this just to start out?
I don't know if it's a hot take, but I will say that I just did an entire video on this on my TikTok the other day. I think it was yesterday. I think that Will Levis continues to kind of give off that franchise quarterback aura with these decisions. A lot of people, like your average fan, around this time, late June, early July is like prime vacation time for these players. They get away with the family. They go be a normal human, no football, none of that. Like sometimes it's rehab. Sometimes it's like doing a little bit of training on your own. These dudes are chilling. Like the guys who play video games are playing video games and streaming and whatever, this, that, and the other thing. They're just like doing their thing. But Will Levis and some of his skill position players are kind of doing both. They're like, hey, let's go do this. And one thing I pointed out is that this is something that Tom Brady did a lot throughout his career. He would take his skill position players, wide receivers, tight ends, running backs. He would take them out on vacation. A lot of the times they'd go to like Florida or the beach or whatever, and they would just be cutting up, having a good time, throwing on the beach, but also kind of just continuing the work that you've done from OTAs, fill this gap of time so that way you kind of keep your mind fresh, and they just connect it all the way through. And that's what Will Levis has done since the season has ended. This guy got straight to work on the things that he needed to improve with his like footwork and things like that with some quarterback coaches. And then that into rookie mini camp, which he was around for, and then all the way through the offseason program. And now he's going to vacation, take some time, and also get work in with some of his top targets on the offense. So to me, this says a lot about the player he's trying to be, the player he knows he can become, and just kind of continue this really great work that they've had. So it's really encouraging as a fan. But I think it's more encouraging as a Titans fan, given we haven't quite had a quarterback of this caliber. We just haven't. Like you didn't hear about Marcus Mariota taking. I'm sure he had, but never heard about Marcus Mariota taking his receivers out to Hawaii and throwing routes and like getting prepped for the season or whatever. Right? It was like, oh, we don't have to like really prep for this. We're going to be running the ball about 40 to 50 times a game. So, Derek, do you want to come out here and get these handoffs? Let's get some reps. You know what I'm saying? Like everything that's elevating about this team is really important. And we just mentioned we will go as Will Levis will go. And I think that Will is all the signs are pointing to a pretty big season from this kid. Maybe even a historic Titans quarterback season. We'll see. But so far, the aura just continues to build for me.
Yeah, I'm glad that we're getting to this point where this is, he's doing this. I feel like, I know we can't really expect it out of these guys, but that's sort of an expectation for me to be able for the quarterbacks to be doing something like that. Mariota did it in the past a little bit. Tannehill did it a little bit as well. We get excited every year around this time when it happens. I'm just more worried about the guys that are returners that weren't there. Why? I mean, I understand we got stuff to do, but the guys that are returning, I'm sure Levis said it in freaking, what was it? The end of last season, January. Hey, I'm playing some of the summer, boys. Let's go to the summer. Why ain't y'all there? You know what I mean? Everybody's got their own lives. They're free to do whatever they want. But the new signings like Ridley, Boyd, I can understand why they're not there because they just signed. You know what I mean? That might not have been in their plans. So I understand that. But if you're a returner like Traylon Burks, what are you doing?
I'm gonna give Traylon the pass.
Traylon's a new dad. Traylon's a new dad.
Let's be honest.
And well, let's be honest again. What's the rep share going to be for Traylon at this point, right? But I think the biggest reason is that dudes almost a year in advance will have this time carved out for something. So like you want to talk about like wives, girlfriends, family members. They're like, okay, can we go? When are we going to Disney? And these dudes are like, okay, right in here is when we can go pick a time. So that's probably why. But I will say to flip that, the thing that also is exciting about this, if we take Will Levis out of it, right?
Yeah.
And we look at his players and the guys who went, bro, can DeAndre get some love from the media, from the Titans, from the Titans fans? Can he get some love? Bro, this guy can't do possibly any more for this team than he has. He's flying out to Fashion Week. He's flying back to Cabo to hang out. He's doing this and that. He's back. He's at voluntary OTAs. He's at mandatory. Bro, he's been here the entire time, and he is going above and beyond. He's only been here for a year and a half, going on a full calendar year now around this time, and this guy is committed. He's all in. So, like, that's the
point I'm making.
Is like, yeah.
That's the point I'm making. We got DeAndre Hopkins. He's 32 years old. He's a 12-year vet. He's out there in Cabo. Where the hell is Traylon Burks at?
Oh, my God.
I'm serious. Like you said, DeAndre Hopkins was just in Paris at Fashion Week. He's flying back and forth. He was in the south of France the week before. This guy's in Arkansas. Get your ass out to Cabo.
Traylon,
you know what I mean?
He's a new father. He has a new baby.
I understand it. I'm half joking and I'm half serious. But but still, the point is we got to
catch strays from people regardless. No matter
I think Tyler Boyd's the biggest concern. I'm like, man,
no, he just got on the team.
I mean, he might be moving. The moving truck might be out front, but dude,
he just got on.
We're working on timing. That's what we're trying to improve here, and that's something Will Levis struggled with the most. We're talking about practice here.
We're talking about practice.
That's the guy I want to see out there. What I see right now is, I mean, this is a bunch of mercenaries out there. They're bringing in everybody, left, right, and center. And then we're trying to build this camaraderie in this team. I mean, this is the Avengers movie 1. This is Captain America trying to break up the fight between Iron Man and Thor. We're trying to bring this team together, and this is the time to do it. We might as well get there with the boys. Women aren't around; they can just be dudes. That's what I want to see out there. So
it's very good to see, though. Levis taking that initiative and that leadership this early in his career. Very good to see. Him as a leader has been unquestioned in his time with the Titans. I'm very, very proud, and it really goes against everything they said initially in the lead up to the draft, that he's not really a guy that they don't think that other guys can rally around and stuff like that. He's proven to be the absolute opposite.
Oh, yeah.
Absolute opposite. And that might be why Vrabel was grinning ear to ear, him and Tim Kelly at that bar that night on Kentucky's Pro Day, because they saw that this guy is exactly not what they say that was. And then they saw his arm. So I can see why they were excited. I mean, we all should be excited for Will Levis, not only for his arm talent and his ability, but his leadership and just channeling that offense, that young offense, into where we need him. Between him and Latham, I mean, we're filling that void of Henry leaving, because Henry wasn't the most vocal leader himself, but now we've got some vocal guys in there. We got Cushenberry leading that offensive line. We got DeAndre Hopkins really leading by example, taking a lot of the leadership that he's seen throughout his career. I mean, you got to think, this guy DeAndre Hopkins has been under the tutelage of guys like Andre Johnson, Larry Fitzgerald, both guys that led by example, weren't loud, led by example. And you can see that in DeAndre Hopkins now. He's being that guy that sort of can lead by example. And when on his tail end in Arizona, he was sort of, that wasn't something that people really looked at him as. But look at him now. You know, he's doing really well. And kudos to him, because he doesn't have to do any of this. I mean, let's be honest. He's 32 years old on the tail end of his career. Him putting in this extra effort like this, flying back and forth from the south of France, Paris, to, you know, Cabo and Nashville, to be here and be at voluntary workouts. Was at voluntary workouts all off season long. I mean, he was
He's
there.
a Hall of Famer.
That's why he's a Hall of Famer.
Simple.
That's what I want to see out of the rest of the receivers as well. You know, we got guys that
retire as a Titan. I want to see him retire as a Titan, just to
100%.
stick it into Houston's side just a little bit more.
He's got a spot. He's got a spot in the slot. Boyd won't be here for. I don't think Boyd will be here next year. I mean, it's a good 1 year deal for him. Hopkins can slide right into the slot, and you know, we just got to get an X receiver outside of that.
Yeah, I don't want to think about the receiving core next year. But, I mean, that kind of alludes us into this being the most different Titans team from a year-to-year basis we may have ever seen. Jim Wyatt kind of alluded to it. He's like, we've had some great years, and that got really bad. So those might be the most different, but I think we've improved. And we're just talking about starters that we've brought in. I mean, this list is Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd, Lloyd Cushenberry, potentially Shajiq Charles, Tony Pollard, L'Jarius Sneed, Chidobe Awuzie, Kenneth Murray, Sebastian Joseph Day, potentially Justin Simmons, not to mention even the rookies in J.C. Latham, Devondre Sweat, Cedric Gray. And let's not forget about this overhauled coaching staff. I mean, I don't remember a time. He's been busy. And I don't remember a time where I've been this excited for a season just because I don't know what the fuck to expect. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, but, normally they reel me in. Normally they reel me in by about that second or third preseason game. I'll be real pessimistic by the first, you know, up until about the first preseason game, just from all the trauma of all the years. But I'm excited. I mean, I was excited when we made the hire, and I was even more excited after free agency and the draft, seeing Latham and them boys in practice, Calvin Ridley having a receiver of that stature. And Will Levis seeing what type of step he'll take next year. I mean, there's a lot to be excited about, and we ain't even really talked about L'Jarius Sneed this offseason. I mean, that's a big addition. Not to mention with how the defense is going to be different. I mean, we're gonna have a ton of time to dissect how different this team is. It's going to look weird. We're going to see things being done from people in Titans uniforms that we have not seen before. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I think I'm most excited to see how this offense is going to kind of transcend and change. I think we're going to see a lot of what we saw, the success that we've seen in Cincinnati. Jake had a really great breakdown. If you guys haven't got a chance to see that yet, check it out. It's on the YouTube channel. Just kind of breaking down the success that Jake Browning and the back half of the Bengals had with Callahan calling. I think we're going to see a lot of that. We saw almost all those throws were digs in that Cabo video. There's going to be a lot of efficiency happening and at the quarterback position, and I think Will's going to be able to spin it. So that's obviously exciting. But to your point, I mean, L'Jarius Sneed might have been the most exciting move player acquisition wise this entire offseason, even on top of all the exciting shiny toys that we have on offense now. And I'm really excited to see kind of this defense return to that my man catch no balls era where we had a very, very good secondary. We haven't really had that very many years in Tennessee. As a matter of fact, I can count on one hand how many good years of secondary play we've had in the past 2 decades, if we're being completely honest. So the depth that we have at that position is a really big deal. I'm just waiting for that final safety domino to fall, which certainly will in the next, couple of weeks.
Yeah, it should be the next few weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, Jim even alluded to it. He's like, I don't think that this, the second starting safety is on the team yet.
Second.
Yeah. Yes. Basically saying that there's only one starting safety on the team.
Who?
Oh, Lord have mercy. We're not going to do
just
this,
playing.
are we?
Yep. Well,
It was a layup. I had to. It was an alley oop, Jake.
known. I should have known. I walked right into that one.
You walked right into it.
I should have known.
Hey, Jake, or Jonathan, Jake, I had him going, didn't I?
I was waiting
He
for
really
him to catch
did.
on.
He baited the shit out of me, and I walked right into it.
We got Shaheem
Early.
Carter out there, guys.
Oh my god.
We got Mike Brown. We got Matthew Jackson, Keaton Ellis out there, guys.
Look at him.
We're
You gotta
fine
read
at
his
safety
paper.
Position.
He got to read his paper. That's how.
Yeah, those are Madden created players, by the way.
Oh man, I should have known that there's two of my guys on the team. I don't know. I love Amani. I think that Amani just he needs the right guy opposite of him to make.
I
the
like
impact that
Elijah
he was
Molden.
able to make.
It's just the injury history and the
He's
depth.
a nickel.
That's the
He's a
biggest
nickel
thing.
guy.
I like
Yeah.
Molden. Molden was my number 2.
I like Molden.
Number 2
I love it.
corner coming out of the draft.
Bro,
I
you
know
want to talk
obviously
about
it's just-
turnover efficiency versus snaps?
Yeah,
Bro, Molden is way up there.
he gets banged for his buck, don't he?
Yeah.
No doubt.
And Stoney talking about it. I mean, one starting safety is Elijah Molden. He put out his film.
Y'all
Friday,
ain't gonna
what
call
was it,
me
a couple
crazy.
weeks
I ain't
ago.
though.
Yeah,
No,
I ain't the only one that thinks that, man. Y'all not gonna act like I'm crazy,
bro. The Monty Hooker slander.
I just worry about the
Unacceptable.
athleticism on the back end because
It's bad.
Molden is not an athletic guy. Amani Hooker is not an athletic guy. I mean,
Yeah.
just
Dude,
looking
bro.
at relative athletic scores, they are not those
Covering
dudes.
ground. No,
Yeah.
like covering
They're
ground.
very
Like
instinctual
Okay.
and
All right,
intellectual based safeties, but they're lacking the athleticism.
When it comes to playmaking, this guy has stretched his body in every way, contorted in every way. I mean, he's a playmaker, dog. He had 2 turnovers to start the season last year in that Saints game. And
how many have in the season?
2.
we don't have to talk about it. This is
2.
the way we set up our defense.
I did see him in highlight tapes over the summer, though. You know, I mean, I seen him. He was on the highlight tapes. It was just so happened to be it was Calvin Ridley's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know, I don't know.
We need some help back there. Okay.
We do.
can all agree on that. Need
We
some
do.
help.
No.
And it's coming. It's coming. It's just a matter of time. Thankfully, these safety markets just keep tanking, bro. These guys are going to have very heavily incentivized deals. That
Yeah.
Marcus May contract was
They're like the used car market.
rough.
No, this is going to be a 1-year prove it deal at the tail
Mm-hmm.
end of their careers. Depending, it can be Quandre Diggs, Justin Simmons, insert blank name here. It's a 1-year deal, in my opinion.
Yeah, you can't.
What
really
about
tie
Carthon?
him
And I know we've talked about it before. What about Carthon and his job this offseason? I mean, he's done an exceptional job. I tweeted last week. I
Oh,
said
yeah.
the guy needs another raise.
Oh, yeah. No.
You know, he's
As long
done
as Malik
exceptional.
Washington sucks.
Oh,
Well, it's like how much of that is Ran Carthon and how much of that is Chad Brinker and that crew putting together those numbers and stuff.
Chad Brinker's going to be a GM next year. We're going to lose Chad. We're going to
This
lose.
is a perfect pairing because I think Ran Carthon is one of the best communicators in his job, and the Chad Brinkers is that numbers dude. So when you put those
going to
two
get a job.
together,
He's going to.
oh yeah,
Someone's
Yeah.
gonna
Chad
hire
Brinker
him.
next season
General
gone.
manager.
Bernard
Yeah.
Wilson next season gone.
that's
yeah.
the hope, at least. You know, that means we're doing something well.
No
Yeah,
doubt.
exactly. And I mean, I'd much rather have to replace this defensive coach again, opposed to have to build another offensive scheme around Will Levis. So
That's
That was
why-
the whole point.
I'll take
Griffin
that.
had all that shine early on, right? Because it was like Matt LaFleur gone after 1 year, which, by the way, I mean, he was going to be a head coach regardless. It was happenstance.
I mean, he interviewed for the Titans.
He did. Yeah, he was going to be gone
Yeah.
regardless, but still noteworthy. Like he goes, and then you elevate and you promote. Arthur Smith has a couple good seasons, and then he gets promoted. And so, like, the turn and burn effect happens, and whenever that does happen, then it's only positive thing on the organization and on. That's why the 49ers are held to such a high regard. Like, you want to talk about that coaching tree from Shanahan is real.
Yeah.
And so if you can get a guy that starts developing talent like that, not just on the football field, but also in the coaching rooms, then you got a good one. And I think we do have and again, like culture, Les Snead, 49ers type of vibe. That's where Rand comes from. So I'm really excited about Rand as a hire. And I think after the first year, I mean, you can hold up Rand's first 3 picks in his first year that'll hold a candle, especially if Will hits, which we all think he will. That'll hold a candle to any draft this team has ever had. And in 2019, we had a really, really good one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just like across the board, all 3 picks, I mean, really the entire draft, but those top 3 picks were particularly impressive. But
last year's draft was really good. You know, it was a very good draft last year, and we'll hope the same this year. You know, we'll see.
No, I think everything that we're doing now is we've got the starters in place. I think at this point we're just looking at building depth. That way we're not diving into free agency like we are this season, because we're not going to have $100 million every year, but it's getting those Nets guys up, being able to build up in the back end like the Baltimore Ravens and stuff, where it's like, hey, you can move on to your next team. We've got a guy behind you that'll be just as good. So I think that's the next step in this next couple of years. And I think Rand Carthon's got the job to do that too. And I think we've got a lot of that depth already. It's just building them back up. But I think we ended on a high note. I think we're going to lead into our last little portion of today's show. And if you guys are joining us for the first time, we end each show with a draft. And basically, we're going to go snake draft style today. Jonathan's got the 101. I've got the 102. B-Will's got the 103 in the turn. We're going 4 picks each, and we're going best vacation spots. So if you have a vacation spot that you absolutely love that we might miss out, or you have a 101, drop it in the chat below. Make sure you go join us on YouTube. But Jonathan, where is the 101? Because I didn't have a clear one in my opinion.
This is the this is the one draft I did not want the 101, if I'm being completely honest, because there's a lot of pressure here. But I have to look, as all drafts, you have to stay true to your board. Okay. And I'm going to stay true to mine. The number one vacation spot for me, a place that I've wanted to go for a very long time. It's not fancy. There's not a billion things to do, but it's just a place that, you know what? Actually, I'm going to hold it because I think I can get it for my second pick.
Stay true to your board.
While we're still on the clock, guys, let's be real. Okay.
You can't reach at the first pick. That's how you end up with
He's going to do it.
Yeah, exactly. We're not going to do that. We're going to get somebody in here. Okay, look.
Take the tackle.
I'm going to go with Kauai, Hawaii. And I'm going with Kauai because my wife and I went there for a honeymoon, and it truly is paradise. That place has everything. It's incredible. It's the smallest island of the 4 in Hawaii, if no one's ever been. It's incredible, bro. Everything about it. You can get around the entire island in like an hour and 10 minutes. There's so many great things to do. They shot Jurassic Park there. They have several amazing beaches with crystal clear water. The food there is really great. They even have like Panda Express and like random things. They have Walmart. Like we landed and I was like, hey, let's go to Walmart and like try to find a couple things. And my wife laughed at me. She goes, Walmart? What are you talking about? This is a tiny island. I was like, let's go to bro. Walmart's everywhere. Oh, yeah, surely. And sure enough, Walmart.
That's scary.
It was incredible. All the things. It's amazing because it's really close to like Japan and the Asian Pacific islands and stuff.
That's their vacation spot,
bro. They have everything. So they import stuff from over there, and then they have like cool, incredible like quality. Bro, it's insane. If you ever, I'm saying this to everybody, if you ever get a chance to go to Hawaii, please choose Kauai and go. It is such an incredible experience. Irrigation tours, so you're on tubing through your old irrigation system, horseback riding, ATVs, bro. It was incredible. It was the best week of my life, hands in terms of like entertainment and pure just enjoying things. So yeah, Kauai is my number one.
You got a talent as a travel influencer, Jonathan. You make me want to look up a trip, man. God bless.
Weirdo.
Hawaii would have been my 101 as well. I've never been to that island. I've been to Kona, which is the big island, and then wherever Honolulu is. I forget which island that is, but absolutely beautiful regardless. I think it is Oahu. Yeah. Both are absolutely amazing. I've been the last couple of years for a couple of events, and it's literally the best place on earth in my opinion.
Amazing.
But that leads me to
no snakes, by the way. No snakes, bro. They're serious about like what comes onto the island. So there's just no snakes. There's also, they don't have other things too. Like they don't have predators on that island.
Wow.
Like sorry, I'm stealing more time, Jake, but like,
no, you're good.
Even, like Clydesdale horses and like other large cattle, whenever they retire, whenever they're done being like whatever, they send them to Hawaii and they just live on those big, massive open ranges. And they just live until they die. Like just they just enjoy life. No predators, no nothing, no stress.
Wow.
It's incredible, bro. It really is a dream place.
Some of the best coffee you'll ever have. They've got coffee tours. there too. I mean, you got the water as well. You said you got the wildlife. I mean, it's amazing. I swam with sharks down there. It's fucking awesome.
Even the sharks are nice. Yeah,
even the sharks are nice. I mean, and the sea turtles. There's a shit ton of sea turtles. You can just walk into a cove.
Bro, we were landing.
Desk.
Our plane was landing, and you're like hovering over the water for like a good bit of time, and you're close to the water, bro. You're like 25 yards above the water, and as we're landing, a whale breaches like right in front of our window. Like this whale was 20 feet away, 30 feet away, and we're like, oh my God, this is such an amazing like start to this trip. It was so
Welcome
good.
to Hawaii.
Amazing.
Yeah. No, it's everything that you would want it to be and more. So, I mean, going back to the travel agency, that's your second career. But with my first pick, this is the place I've been to the most, and that's Cozumel, Mexico. I love Cozumel. It's kind of gotten a little touristy in the last decade or so. They had a big hurricane. They kind of built that back up, and now it's a tourist spot. But man, you can travel very similarly. You can drive around that entire island in a day. You get to see all the little local shops. You can hop in a mile off the strip and get some authentic, best Mexican food you'll ever have in your life. But the scuba diving there is absolutely amazing. There's just the chillest place in the world, in my opinion. So I'm going Cozumel, Mexico.
It's a good one.
Good choice. I'm probably going to go Puerto Rico, and the island is not that big. So I was going to say San Lucas, or not San Lucas.
San Lucas.
San Lucas. I'm making shit up as I go. Ain't
San Juan?
San Juan, yeah. New San Juan. Even Old San Juan is pretty nice, too, because they've got a lot of history there. It's really, really nice. You talk about beautiful weather. I mean, everything down there is absolutely amazing. Food's good. You can't beat it, and you really don't have nothing really too much to worry about as long as you stay where you need to stay. You're all good. But really good spot in Puerto Rico. And then at the turn, I'm probably going to go domestic. We've been going international, but nobody can beat, in my opinion. It's two cities in the United States that I would put up against any city in the whole United States in the South. One of them is Miami, and I'm going to pick the next one on the next side. Miami is one of the – I mean, you talk about absolutely anything you want to do. There's so much trouble to get into in Miami, for one. You got to keep your head on the swivel down there. I mean, you got to keep your head straight because you'll get in trouble down there. There's so much to do down there. Weather's so nice. I mean, it rains a little bit, but I mean, that's Florida. You know what I mean? So got to have Miami in there. You stay on the Strip or you don't stay on South Beach, specifically South Beach. Just amazing time down there. You can go to so much. You got the Marlins games you can go to. You got Dolphins games you can go to. You got Heat games you can go to. You can go to Little Havana, get some authentic Cuban food. I mean, so much to do in Miami. It's a really beautiful place, really, and great people down there, too.
No, the beach down there is absolutely amazing. I get to visit there earlier this year for the first time down at South Beach. I was over in Doral for some work and then drove down there. Last day, I spent like 3 hours down there, just parked the car, walked down to the beach, and just chilled there. It was absolutely amazing. And you just walk down that strip. It's a party. It's a party down there.
The whole time on South Beach.
Great pick.
Mm-hmm.
So that brings me to my next pick. And I mean, I got two on my list. I think that'll come back to me, and I would probably have them above this one. I'm gonna go with, and if you take it, I'm gonna be devastated. But I'm gonna go with one that I actually went to for my honeymoon. That's Costa Rica. Costa Rica. Similar to Hawaii, I don't think the water is as pretty. They have a red sand, a green sand, which kind of changes the color of the water. Lots of stingrays out there in the water, and I'm not trying to like Steve Irwin,
catch hands,
R.I.P.
Yeah.
But
screwed stingrays.
Yeah.
There's caused a lot of harm in this world.
We did a coffee tour down there. Absolutely amazing. They got the howler monkeys. But you got the jungle and the ocean, and I mean it's hard to not find something to do while you're down there. Food's not the best. I'll say that. I mean it's not up to the Cozumel, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, Miami standard, but it's absolutely beautiful, and the coffee makes up for that, in my opinion, too. So I got Cozumel, Costa Rica. We're sending it back to you, Jonathan. You got two picks,
bro. Another thing about Hawaii, okay? Let me tell you. The quality of the random stuff at random stores is just far superior. I'm telling you, the stuff at Walmart, was like you were shopping at
best tourist stuff ever too at the Walmarts in Hawaii.
It makes
Don't go buy
I
from
can
shop.
only
Go to
imagine.
Walmart. People
Bro,
ain't gonna even know.
I bought a pair of pants at this Walmart that I have to this day. That is one of the best pairs of pants I've ever owned. Like I bought sunglasses that lasted me years, bro, because we went in 2018. Like I'm just telling, like you go to places like Walmart or like there was a grocery store that I got a donut at because we were just happened to be in there for other stuff, and it was the best donut I've ever had at like a grocery store. It was like a random. I'm like, bro, this doesn't make any sense. Like you go back home and you feel cheated because the quality of everything is just so much worse. Anyway,
you get some malasadas down there. They are the best donuts you will ever have in your life. You get the tahini sugar outside. Oh, it's absolutely amazing.
I promise you this is not false gas. If you are listening out there and you get a chance to go to Hawaii, please make it happen. It's so good.
Stoney put it in the comments. He's only been to 10 places in his life. He needs to be taking notes. Will Levis had taken the boys to Cabo. We're setting up a Titans media trip in Hawaii next season.
Incredible.
We're bringing out So Bros Network, the 440 Broadway Sports Media. We got the 104.5 crew. We'll have them all come down. We're just gonna have a big ass party. But
man, insane. All right, let me take my I get one on the turn too, so I get my last two. I will say these two spots are pretty straightforward for me. I love a lot of places. I love going on vacations, love getting out of my environment. I've been to many places. I think I've been to like 42 of our 50 states. So I've been, blessed to be able to travel early in my life, but I'll say for this next one, I'm going to go Bora Bora. Bora Bora is a place that's been high on my list of wanting to go to. I've never been, but man, it looks incredible. Like the clearest water you can possibly see. You have those cabanas that sit on top of the water.
Mm-hmm.
Let me make this clear. I am not a big ocean guy. All right. Don't want to be in there.
No one ever.
Don't belong in there.
Shoot, I'm the same way, Jonathan. Don't worry about it.
I'll go to a mountaintop as far away from open water. But what I will say is that I do enjoy like the shallow parts of the beach and stuff. I just like it when the water is clear. I just don't like not being able to see what's under me. That's all. That's my thing.
You're not swimming in the lake, so
Jonathan want to go over there, step in the water, have it coming up to his ankles. He's good.
No, like don't get me wrong.
He's that
like,
guy.
Going back to the Miami pick, there've been a lot of sharks down there here lately.
Bro.
I don't get in the water. I just go to the beach.
Bro,
we need to see at the beach. I don't got to get in the water.
I want to be able to swim, and I think we went to. I think it was Panama City that we went to last year. We typically go down to Florida, like Destin or Panama City or something, with the family, and we went and we were spreading my mother-in-law's mom's ashes, and I had to go out into the ocean on this tiny boat for the first time, and I about had 90 strokes. It was the scariest experience that I've ever had out in open water, bro. This tiny boat. There's like 6 of us on this boat. I have my toddler, my son, with me, and I'm literally holding him in my lap. I'm like, hey, daddy's got you, bro. It's all good. Like, don't worry, I'll protect you. And I'm like, he's giving me comfort. Oh my God, bro. But I will say it was really beautiful to do a 360 and see nothing but water. I thought I would be terrified. Like, it's my number one fear to be trapped in open water with like nothing. But in that moment, I was still able to appreciate the beauty of the open water, even though it was terrifying. So anyways, Bora Bora, I think that it kind of sells itself, I would think. And then on the turn, my last pick, this is a place that I want to go to so badly. Just the culture, the atmosphere, just being able to do a million different things. They have fantastic wildlife as well. So like if you wanted to go for a hike or something, and like they have mountains, they have forests, they have all that stuff, but it's very like city oriented. And also it's one of my favorite cultures to be a part of. And shout out to my starters on the back, my dudes right here, my guy hiding behind my plant, and that's Japan. I would love to go to Japan. It's on my list. It seems like such an incredible place. Again, incredible culture, incredibly friendly people. I think it's very like, to me, I had this complex of being like, oh, if I can't like speak the language, I feel like I wouldn't be able to go anywhere or read anything. I feel like Japan is a very tourist friendly place. and it would be a little bit easier to maneuver. It's also very affordable. Like you could stay and make a vacation out of it very well. Also, I think they have like a Disney World type of place for like anime and stuff. Like I'm a big anime fan, so that part of it I would really enjoy. So I just think it would be a really fun experience, and hopefully I get a chance to do that before my lights turn out.
Hawaii, Bora Bora, and Japan, and you'll have one more pick, by the way. We got 4, so we're coming back around.
Oh, I forgot. You're right. You're right.
So that brings me to my third pick. We went Cozumel, Costa Rica. I've got some jungle, I got some ocean, so we got to diversify this board. So we got to draft the left tackle here, and that's Iceland. Going to Reykjavik, Iceland. If you've seen the videos and stuff, they have the hot springs with the bright blue water. That's a place I just want to go chill and hang out. You got some mountains. It's one of those places that there's not another place in the world that looks similar to it, in my opinion. So I want to experience that before I die. So that is like my number one bucket list place I want to go as of right now. And we're going to make it happen. Flights aren't too expensive. Me and the wife have been looking at it. So we're going to make that happen in the next couple of years. But yeah, I'm going Iceland with my third pick. And then, B. Will, you got your next 2 to wrap up your draft.
I'm going to go, since I thought it was places we've been. That's why I'm sort of holding back. But, man, I'm going to go all in. I want to go somewhere like, I think the absolute best place for me will probably be like Cairo, Egypt. I'm really into a lot of history to see the pyramids and such like that. So I could really, my whole list would just be the wonders of the world, honestly. That's how big I am into history. But definitely would love to see the pyramids and see all the culture in Egypt and just all the history that's in that place. I mean, that place is ancient, man. I mean, it's really amazing to see all that. And they don't do the tours of the pyramids anymore as far as I know. But, I mean, if you get in with a certain people, they can take you in through the tours because it's really small in there. And they've got the taverns that you can go through, and you'd have to like get on your knees and crawl through them. But that's something I'd love to do, is be able to tour the actual pyramids, the inside of them. So that's one. And then my next pick is probably going to be Barbados, man. I went to Barbados a couple years ago, and you talk about just beauty. I mean, everything down there is beautiful. The food is amazing down there. The beaches they got if I'm not mistaken, they got black sand beaches down there, and the water is crystal clear. I mean, you talk about amazing. The weather's beautiful. I mean, it's just a great place to vacation, great place to relax, man. Barbados.
Let's go on.
Yeah, I didn't even think about Egypt, and that's. I have a friend that went down there on a missions trip, and she loved it so much she just moved there. She loved it that much. That brings me to my last pick, and I got 5 on my board still, and they're all pretty similar. But I got to go with the one. I don't know if it's going to be my favorite place in the world, but it's those places that just everybody talks about, and that's Paris. You get some good eats, get to see the Eiffel Tower. I mean, maybe not the sexiest pick in the world, but that might be my left tackle right there, honestly. But yeah, we're going Paris with my last pick.
Man, I didn't take my left tackle, man. I was gonna say Houston. I mean, you talk about a city to go to, man. I mean, it's hot as balls down there in the summer.
Dirty water in Galveston.
I mean, it's just the food down there. Everything about Houston, man.
You can't take Houston over Austin, bro. Can't.
I'm a Houston guy.
Ugh.
I'm still a bachelor, man.
Maybe if they still have the Oilers, I'd be down. But
yeah,
I mean, my dad, my stepdad, they both live down
city,
there.
bro.
No, dude, Houston's different. Houston's a little bit different.
It's different, all right.
It's got a culture down there.
This
is tough. I only prepared for 3, but there's a couple of really great spots left. I kind of want to
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville,
worst city ever. Worst city in the division. Well, no, I would say Indy is the worst city in the division. If we're gonna do it, we're gonna do a list.
100%. I'm gonna go Bali. I'm gonna go Bali just to keep it in kind of that. Yeah, man. Like I just really like the idea of like a really beautiful tropical place with great water. Again, like great clear water. Also, I feel like it's really affordable to like.
Yeah, it's dirt cheap.
Yeah, so like
the flight is expensive and it takes forever to get there, but everything I've read is it is dirt cheap. You can live off there in $20.
Yeah, you can literally, get really incredible food, massages, really cool tours, all that stuff for next to no money. And I like the idea of my money stretching. And that was,
Yeah, for sure.
a big reason why I've enjoyed some of the places I've been to. But yeah, Bali, I'll end it on that. I was thinking about Australia, thinking about Sydney, but their spiders are the size of my head, and they have like
Sheesh.
death cobras. So like, no thanks, no thanks.
That was my
Dude,
thought
he's-
as well. I thought about Australia and I was like, man, too many things that could kill me down there.
If I went for like
Yeah.
a day, maybe that'd be fun.
East
But, like,
Asia's really slept on, man. You got Laos, you got Vietnam's really nice. I mean, Vietnam is beautiful, man. I mean, absolutely beautiful. Some people would like to go to Korea. Korea's nice too. Seoul's really nice. I say just Asia in general is really slept on.
Oh yeah,
Probably because it takes so long to get out there.
exactly.
I think I
Yeah.
could stay months in Japan and
Yeah,
enjoy
for sure.
myself the entire time. I really do.
No, that's not a weekend trip for sure.
Uh-uh.
No,
Argentina was another shout for me.
Oh,
They got some of the best steaks in the world. Argentina would be
Rome,
really good.
Aruba,
Yep, Rome.
Dubai.
Puerto Rico would
We
have
didn't pick anywhere in Europe except for
I
Paris.
was sad.
Yeah,
I picked it first.
I mean, maybe the most slept on state might be my favorite state overall, Colorado. Absolutely,
Yeah,
amazing.
Colorado for sure.
Just so
Outdoors-wise.
beautiful. That's a short drive for me, so I love Colorado. Shout out
DMV
to
in the summer,
Stoney.
Chicago in the summer. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
these
I
cities
got
like
engaged to Chi-Town.
yeah, Chicago in the summer is. I mean, Chicago's a really beautiful city, man.
Yeah,
Very, very
You
beautiful.
can't-
I'm glad nobody
we
said New
spent
York.
only a day there. Oh yeah, New York is overrated.
I was in New York every week for like basically an entire year. So I loved it. I'm not gonna lie. At first, bro, I did all the touristy things and it was a blast.
Mhm.
But after
Got
you're there
old?
for like, after like the third week, I was like, oh man, when are we going home?
Can only eat so
New
much
York and
pizza.
Chicago similar. They've got some amazing parts, but it gets real dirty and real trashy a lot too. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
shout out to Stoney in the comments. He said Oktoberfest in Germany. That would be fucking cool.
Oh,
Sure.
Ireland.
Germany's really nice.
dang it. I should
Germany's
have taken.
beautiful.
Oh man. I should have did Amsterdam for my last pick. That would have been a good one.
Oh, I thought about it, but I was like, I mean, Ireland. I mean, going back to my home country, that would have been cool. Park City in Utah. I've been to Salt Lake City, Utah, and that's cool too. It's absolutely beautiful down there. San Francisco. Nobody drafted anything from California, which I think might be prettier than
Tennessee
Florida in a lot of
practically is
points.
California now, Jake.
Yeah, we're in Cali.
Yeah, so is Texas. I mean,
We basically are.
Yeah.
it's too expensive down there. I've been a lot to California, and it's crazy. But
Nobody said
I think-
good old Boomer Sooner, Oklahoma.
I mean, we really ain't got nothing. We got nothing. I mean, I can't even think of anything good to say about Oklahoma off the top of my head. So
Barbecue.
yeah, we got good barbecue, but it's just Texas style. That's all it is.
Texas
I mean,
style
go to-
barbecue.
Yeah, go to the Gulf. You get the
Got
same
some solid
barbecue.
potholes around Texarkana. I mean, there's some,
Y'all
there's-
got some
We got some
attractions.
beautiful
there's some
rivers.
stuff.
Yeah, we got some good fishing. I'll give you that, and good hunting. I mean, but that's about it. If you're looking for water, go somewhere else. But and we ain't got no mountains. It's flat as shit. But that wraps it up today, guys. We went in just over a little hour, so I mean, we did good timing today. So if you guys checking us out for the first time again, make sure you go like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be here every Thursday. Once we get closer to the season, we've talked about maybe adding a second show, but we got to have viewers in the channel though. So you can come join us. Make sure you go check out Jonathan's stuff over there on TikTok as well. He's putting out content pretty continuously over there. B Will, he's always making content everywhere. And then I'll be I'm working on a Kenneth Murray film breakdown right now. It's not what it's all been seen. So we'll hopefully put that out here in the next week or two. I'll be putting that out.
Kenneth
And then
Murray Truther.
I am a Kenneth Murray truther. And if you saw it on Twitter, we got some Oklahoma on Oklahoma crime where Kenneth Murray just decleated Creed Humphrey over there. So working on that right now. But we'll check you guys next Thursday. We love you. Mean it. Peace.